You go to a dating site, you set your age criteria, 5 years younger, 5 years older. You wonder why the younger men don't seem to respond as much. You wonder why there's so many older men and men even older than the oldest guys who are responding to you. It's all very frustrating and sometimes emotional. What you didn't know was that I, Marc Katz, am an omniscient, omnipotent being, and I will send you your husband via Federal Express, but only if you do this one thing that I'm about to ask you to do at the end of this video. Stick around. I'm Marc Katz, dating coach for smart, strong, successful women and your personal trainer for love. Welcome to the Love You podcast. Keep listening to learn how you could double the number of quality men online. When we're done, I'll let you know how you could apply to Love You to create a passionate relationship that makes you feel safe, heard, and understood. So this is something that I tell to all of my Love You Masters clients, the private clients who hire me for one-on-one coaching. And I save this for our third call after I've learned about them, after I've written their profile, after I've paid for their professional photos. We log into their Match.com accounts, we pay attention to their existing age criteria, and then I offer this hypothetical, which I want you to take to heart. So let's say that I'm God. Not in any blasphemous way, just in a, let's play this little hypothetical thought experiment out. And I am handing you a man who is guaranteed to make you happy for the rest of your life. That's the proposition of Love You. You come to Love You, you pay good money, you enroll, and at the end of 6 months, you open the door, and out pops a guy. There's a guy from Federal Express and he asks you to sign here to get this huge package on your porch. And so you sign, you let him into your house, you open the box, and out pops your husband. And remember, he is guaranteed by God to make you happy. This isn't just a guy. This is someone who is going to make you happy until the day you die. All right. So you open the box and out he pops, and he's cute and he's consistent and he's kind and he's communicative. He's committed. And he promised to be your best friend and lover and partner in crime forever. Got it? Got that image in your mind? This is real. How old would that man have to be for you to say, you know what, God? I'd rather be alone for the rest of my life than to be with someone that age. There's not a right answer. I'm not pushing you towards a right answer. I just want you to recognize that if you hypothetically set your maximum age range to this round number, 10 years, 5 below, 5 above, a very common construct. Recognize there's no difference between a guy who's 5 years older than you and 6 years older than you. Or not much of a difference between a guy who's 6 years older than you and a guy who's 7 years older than you. And so on and so forth. At a certain point in this thought experiment, you're going to say, this is a little weird, this is a little creepy, I couldn't possibly do it, and then that's what your cutoff is for your max age range. So in doing this, and I've been doing this for a long time, I could almost hear and feel your reaction. This guy is telling me to settle. He's telling me to go out with some old man with one foot in the grave who's on a respirator, saying that I should go without my necessary attraction for the rest of my life, telling me I should be okay being some nurse with a purse. Nope. Did not. Never said any of that. Not true. Sorry. You can't tell me I said something I didn't say. What I am telling you is that this same criteria, using the same criteria, or not using the same criteria, more likely, I wouldn't have found my own wife. Because the search criteria I set for her, she was 3 years older than the max age range I was looking for online. That is my point. That's the blind spot that I want you to address. This is my logic. And this is the logic that's so often used against you by men. Let's say you're a 51-year-old woman, and suddenly you just dropped off the face of the earth because men search for women 40 to 50. Isn't that a shame? Isn't that almost blatantly unfair? Aren't you the same person you were when you were 50? And now no one's even looking at you? Won't you be pretty much the same person when you're, say, 54? Think so. So you understand the logic. The logic is not saying go out with every old decrepit man who expresses interest in you. Right? That's a recipe for disaster. There's no settling in this love you equation. I'm telling you two very, very important things that's essential for you to internalize. All of us, this isn't you. Right? I could say the same thing if I were addressing this to men. You're more of a catch to someone who's older than to someone who's younger. How do I know this? Look at the search criteria for younger men. Take a look at the guys that you might find the most desirable. If you're a 38-year-old woman, you're looking for a 38-year-old man, what are his search criteria? 25 to 34. Right. If you're a 50-year-old divorced guy, maybe he's looking for 35 to 44. Right. Especially if he wants to have a family. So if you're older than the search criteria for most of the men, you'll see, A, how unfair this practice is, that you're eliminated for something as arbitrary as age, right? And B, how that limits their options and their ability to meet you. And C, how indeed younger men will sleep with older women for a thrill, for a story, for experience for the time being, but very few go out with older women as their target demographic for marriage. And I think only 1% of all relationships have a woman who's 10 years older than the man, and maybe 3% of a woman who's 5 years older than a man. So the exceptions to this don't generally disprove the rule. The other important thing I want to share with you about this is that by pushing your age limit as high as it can go, you're not going out with anyone that you don't want to go out with. No one's foisting anything upon you. You're literally like looking at guys through a phone book. Right? You're just seeing more people, but keeping your same high standards. In fact, you could afford to be more selective. Maybe you're even considering less than 5% of older men 5 to 10 years older. But you're going to have much more success with that 5% than you will with the men who are 5 to 10 years younger, who also have the freedom to look for younger people. I have a prime example of this. And remember, I've been doing this for 17 years. So I've got many, but this is the most frustrating example that I had, because I worked with a client back in the day before there was a Love You. I worked with clients for 3 months instead of 6, and I now do 6 because I want people to see better results over time. So we worked together for 3 months, and she's 15 years ago, and we didn't really get along. I hate saying that. I'd like to think I could get along with just about anybody who employs me, but we had a lot of friction because we were having this conversation. I was telling her to widen her age criteria, but she was insisting that because she took great care of her body, she should therefore be with a younger man. That's what she deserved. Right? She's 51, and her last boyfriend was 37, and this was proof positive that she deserves a younger man. Right? Her search criteria was like 35 to 50 or something like that, and she's 51. Right? Very guy-like in that approach. And I don't think it's particularly effective when men do it, honestly. And if I were coaching men, I'd tell them to raise their age range as well and consider older women. But I'm a coach for women. So she's 51. She's looking for men who are 35 to 50. And her last boyfriend was 37. And so I asked her, almost out of innocence, because I don't remember the details. I said, what happened with that guy? The 37-year-old guy. He left me for a younger woman, she replied. So I said, so maybe give it a chance with the guy who's your age or older? Nope. All those men my age, they can't keep up with me. Right? I know it. I'm really active for my age. I'm really young for my age. No one can keep up with me. There's not a, and I obviously have to reply with logic instead of emotion. There's not a single man here in Southern California who's cute and can keep up with you in his 50s. Nope, she replied. And I pushed and I pushed and I pushed. Right? And so we didn't have fun. It was a lot of friction because she thought I was forcing her to do something she didn't want to do. Naturally, she graduated from the course with a 57-year-old triathlete boyfriend. As always, the moral of the story isn't about right and wrong, but effective and ineffective. It's highly effective to double your dating pool by raising your max age range another 5 years. That is far more effective than just complaining, why don't any of these younger guys appreciate me or want to commit to me when ultimately they're age range is lower than my age and their dream relationship doesn't incorporate an older woman in it. You're better off reaching out to your target audience who does want you than trying to convince someone who doesn't want you that they should. Right? And I'd say the same thing if it was an 80-year-old man writing to you and he wasn't paying attention to your target audience. So this is universal advice. I'm just sharing it with you today. So maybe if you just take this to heart and say, hey, I trust this guy. I've seen him on the internet. He knows what he's talking about. He walks the walk. He admits he wouldn't have found his own wife online dating the way I'm dating right now. Maybe you bump up your maximum age range. Maybe you take this to heart and say, hey, maybe he is omnipotent. Maybe he can hand me my husband. Maybe I'm missing out on him for these arbitrary reasons that bear no weight as to whether I'm happy. Is it possible I could be attracted to a guy who's 8 years older than I am? I'll bet it is. I guarantee it is. So I'm not pushing you to do anything against your will where you're not attracted or you feel like you're settling, because that would be ineffective dating strategy. But I want to raise the possibility that if you do this, maybe you'll end up just like I did, happily married to someone for the rest of your life that you wouldn't have considered based on your original age criteria that you were starting with today. Now, wouldn't that be a nice problem to have? I bet it would. My name is Marc Katz. Thank you for tuning into the Love You podcast. For more episodes like this on YouTube, click the subscribe button and ring the bell. Choose all to ensure you get notified when new content comes out. If you're listening on the audio podcast, please scroll down to leave an honest review on Apple. More reviews equals more awareness of the Love You podcast and more love in the world. And if you're interested in Love You, click on the link below to apply. Thanks. I'll talk to you soon.